So I'll make adjustments to this one here. Before, what we do there is where's the back card? So the back card we are actually using RAM, but I've changed it to percentage. What was there before is this. So this is what is there before. But this RAM now, the card is increasing. So this one is not taking account of the card. It's not being measured based on the card, whether it increased or reduced. So this RAM will not change because the card is changing, but the RAM will not change. Whatever this will give you, this 69.6 is what is only going to be there. But now when I said on the big screen, this 768 it will change to 5.2 whatever stuff. But what about the screen in between? So returning this thing back to the way it is, save it, you see that it works here. But now if you go to a slight different screen that the card will increase, as you can see, it will start going up. But I don't want to be the one that will be doing it for each screen. Like this is waste of time. So since this thing is increasing, we can depend on percentage. So when that one increase, it will increase whatever the percentage that will give it. If it is 41, it will calculate that 41 based on the period where it's being used. And that's the reason why I changed this one. I just use a random value and that is 42 that actually stay at that particular place. So, and as you can see, this thing will only be at that place. Even if the card increase or reduce, when the card reduce, it see that the card has reduced, so it will calculate that 42%. So if the card is 60 before and it's now 30, so that means you take 42% of that 30, not 60 again. But if it is RAM, that one, is depending on the font size of the ATM and not the card increment. So it will now move the stuff out of it. But with this one, it's depending on the card. The placement of it is so once the card increase or reduce, it will calculate that percentage value based on because it's using that parent. As you can see, I don't need to do anything again for it. It will always work. If the card increase, it will check that percentage, which is 42, then check the height of this box and recalculate whatever the stuff that is there. So what is that? So the other one is this card too. I noticed that that's one where I see the gap is changing based on the screen you're working on there. And it's something that we can quickly modify later on. But for today, we're going to focus on the card I want to plan. I can see this screen is not looking nice on this. So let me check it on a view device screen that looks like that. So this is yeah, iPad Min. Even this one too is still kind of doing the same thing. This one is 912. So and what do we now have the home page here? So which means something is really going on. So as you can see, this thing is going more than what is supposed to take. So we need to work on that layout thing later on there. So I'll just use this desktop for now to place our form because we need to work on form today. And I told you that we're going to be using the React hook form. So there's it here. So there's a library that helps you with form. And why are we using this? Is because it comes with a lot of goodies like whether the user had touched the form or there's an error with that form or not. It will give you all these goodies that you can use instead of you creating the state yourself. You start managing the stuff yourself, then you can use these hooks or this library that help you managing your form. So it will give you what you can use to connect to the input, and from there you can get any of the information about that input. And what are the information that you might need input? One of the information you might need here is as this thing, as you can see, is the form valid? Is it dirty? Dirty means whether you've the value that is there, you've already changed it to another value. This touch is just to know whether you've touched, not necessarily you've changed it, but you've already entered the stuff, but you've not really made any changes, so you've touched. But when you say dirty, whatever that is there before, you change it to another thing. So it give you all these uh stuff that you can use instead of because if you want to do it yourself, you have to create the state to manage this and every other things that you need from your phone. But instead of you doing that, you can use this library and it's going to help you out with all the necessary things that you need or that related. And as you can see too, it gives you a ways of handling the error in your form. Because if you look at what we want to do, the UI is telling us to display error anytime they input wrong stuff inside the box. As you can see, it's going to display the message because this is did not follow the format or the content. You see, it can be blank because they did not fill what they need to fill here. And again, this one too, the message that is going to come outside it can be blank. So it all depend on the application you are working with. You look at the errors, whatever stuff that you need to display, and you create the stuff. And with this now, you can come here to see how to undo error that it's there like that, and you can supply all your validation that you want. Just give it the validation you want, and it's going to display for you by telling it where you want it to be. So we're going to put all this in practice. So we have the way of handling the error, can integrate with other service. We need to do order the same. So if you want, you can use this as schema validation, but we are not going to be going deeper into this. But this is a more advanced way of handling different validation on your form. You know, there's some form that they will tell you can only insert two number there. It must not be less than two, or when you're dealing with email, you know, or when you're dealing with password, they'll tell you your password you have uppercase, lowercase, and special character, and the minimum is 8 or 6, depending on whatever. So you can use some of these library to construct this kind of advanced validation on your form. As you can see, what is saying that the age now, it must be number, it must be positive, and it has to be integer. Integer means it must not be decimal point. Number, number is just a number in general, 1.27 and so forth like that. But this one is still saying that you know, when you are talking about it, that's when we can have 5.27 or minus, you can have minus age. So this one is specifying all the validation for the age. So for the first name, the validation is that it must be string and it is required. So which means you must type something inside a box. So instead of you doing the coding yourself, you can use this library like this Yob now to create this validation. So I don't use this Yob. I've used it before, but the one I normally use is Zodge. So there's a lot of that, as you can see. There's a lot of this thing you can use. So the Yob, the Zodge, this one, and this Joy. But the one I normally use is this Zod here because kind of are close to the language I'm using, which is TypeScript, like that. But this one, if you're dealing with normal JavaScript, you can quickly use this one, or you can use the sort too, which is a library in case we have time. Might actually use it later on to make our validation, you know, breeze. We don't need to start saying if this thing is no. We need to do that. Just give it the schema based on the library that you want to use for the validation, and it's going to check your form whether it's followed that or not. So if it follow it, you are not going to receive any error for that particular feed. But if there is error, as you can see, we are going to receive the error. And as you can see here, we can conditionally render it because we don't want it to come outside. The only time we want it to show is when there is error. If there is no error, we shouldn't see something like this. And I think it will be better we go with this approach there like that. So the first thing we need to do is to have this lib installed, and I think we've done that already. So let me go back to the project this in there. So scroll down to our package because this is where you're going to see everything that have been installed. And as you can see, we already have it. So we have this React full form, and we have the React router done, which is one we use for our navigation ad. So which means we can start using anything that we want from this library. So the only thing we cannot use is that validation schema because we don't have any of this one installed. So if you need them to, you can actually install any one of them that you want. But I always, those are what I mentioned, I always go with that Zod because it's kind of simple. If you go to their site, you see different validation that you can attach to your form there. So it comes with different validation that you can use. So it's loading. Let me wait for it. And while it's loading, let me pause. Yeah, so it's done. As you can see, it's come with different validation based on the type. So you can add validation on string, you can add validation for dates, whether the date is within that range that you're expecting them to impute, or you can validate times IP addresses, can validate not a non, can validate Boolean, whether they are that thing you are telling them, the only thing they can send there is true or false. Any other thing you supply, it will not accept the stuff from you. But majorly, what we actually need is this string. Can you see? So it comes with different string validation. So you can check. This one means that whatever value you want to impute to, it must not be more than 5. Max, it can be less, but max is 5. If you insert anything that is more than 5, then it will not accept, which is something you can use it because we know the total number of value you need to impute, which is which is 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 16. So which means whatever you want to impute here, whatever number you want to impute must not pass 16. Or if you want, say you can even combine min and max together so that it will maintain a particular value. So you have the minimum, you have the max, so min and max, which means this value now, the minimum is 5 and the maximum is 5. So which means you must type exactly 5 character. Can be less and it can be more. But if you just say min, that means minimum of the character you can type is 5, but it can be more than that. It doesn't care. As long it is more than or equal to 5, it will accept it. The same thing here too. When you say max, it means it can't go more than 5, but it can be 1, can be 2, 3, 4, 5, but you can't get to 6. But if you want to limit it to a particular value, you can just combine this max and min, or you can use length. So which means the length of it is going to be 5, which is the same thing as you combining max and min together with the same value. As you can see, you can validate email. So this one will check whether whatever you type there is a valid email or not. If it's valid, it will allow the value. If it's not valid, then it's not allowed. And as you can see, other type of value, or you can even supply your own regular expression, or you can check whether it is including or it's starting with or it's ending or it is. So it comes with different kind of validation you want to do, and you don't need to start typing the code yourself. Your own is just to give this schema there, and it's going to check, and it will do whatever it needs to do. So I used to use it a lot while I'm dealing with a big library or like a big form. So I don't do all these things myself because that's waste of time. And at the same time, you can give it the error message is going to show in case you want to do that, which is what we're going to do. So this is what we're going to do later on when we're adding our validations into the form. Before we need to set up our form, then we now bring in validation later on. But let's install it because we don't have this in React and it's not part of the library that we install. And at the same time, it is not anywhere in our library there. So we need to install it. So how do we install it? All of them follow the same process. You use your npm I, then followed by the name of the library you want to install there like that. So that's how it works. Where is the installation? But that's what you need to do. So let me go into this side. Let me expand, then bring out this one up more. So let me increase mine so that I can show clearly on the video. Okay, so divide them into two so that I can have the server running one side and can install any other thing that I want from the other one. So we need to add our Zod by using npm I Zod or npm install Zod. So that's the name. And once it's done, it will add it to the list here. So which means it's part of our lib and we can use it later on when we get to that part. So let's go into our home page because that's where we're going to have the form, and that's where we're going to have the form. As you can see, it has been added and the version is 3.23.8 there. So pages, inside the pages we have the home, and this is where we're going to put our form. And which form do we want to put here? This is it here. So this is the design that we need to have. And as you can see here, you don't just jump into design, you need to plan ahead because here now look at the way the error message is coming here. So that it's only one error message for the toolbox. One error message for the toolbox. But if you don't look at it from here and you're looking at it from when there is no error message, so let me go back. Oh, it's not here. So let me go front. Where are you? As you can see, when you're looking at it, you know there's some info that are missing. So before you start designing anything, you look at different form that the element you want to design is going to take. So based on that, now you'll be able to know how to structure your page. Because if you look at it here now, This one now is one container on its own. This is another container. Let me use my drawing board. So bring out this one. We're going to have our form. So we're going to have our form, which is going to contain everything. So inside the form, we're going to have this group. These are the control group. Again, we're going to have another control group. And as you can see, each control group have label and the inputs that is inside it. So except this one that is quite different like that, but it's still the same thing. So this one too, you have this group. Inside the group, you have this form control. So this is the control group because it's have the same structure as what we have up here, where you have the label, you have the input. So here too, you have the same thing. The difference is just that there are now two box inside this one. Instead of it to be one box, it's now two box. So which means we need to make sure that or here, what we need to do now is to put it them in their own group. And inside that group, we're going to have these two input. But don't forget, each one of them under it, there's always this error message box, which is not going to come outside by default. But once there is any error, when you click on confirm and there's any error with your input, there's a message that is going to come under them. So we need to have that structure. So which means under each one of them, we need to have an input or a p tag. So here too, there's going to be a p tag. Under this one, there's going to be a p tag, and here there's going to be a p tag. But by default, they are going to be empty. But when there is a message, then it will appear there with the color. And at the same time too, if you look at it, anytime there is error, the border always turns to red. So we need to undo all these items here. So let's start. Don't forget, we need to work based on the layout. So from here now, we're going to have our form. I want I can just put the form directly here, but I'm going to put it under the div. So we're going to have the form. So this form, under it, we're going to have our group. So let me bring out this thing again so that we see what we have to do. As you can see, we have this group, but don't forget, let me draw this thing correctly. So let me delete it and draw it again. So where is it? Come outside and let me move this thing to one side so that we can see it. So this is what we have here. So this is our form. So we're going to have the form. So inside the form, we're going to have the group. So the group, we have the label, and at the same time, it's going to have the input. So the same thing is what we have down here. And don't forget, there is a message there. I almost forgot this thing again. So there is a message there. So we have the label, we have the inputs, and we have the message box. We are going to do it. So you can see that this thing is like a component on its own. So we can now create that group separately. Or if you want, you can just put everything together at the top there like that. But since we want to use this external library, I'm just going to put everything directly there. But you can actually separate them into their own component because what you want to do here is what we do here. So instead of you doing copy and paste, what you can do is to create a single component for this structure and you reuse it just like the way we normally do. But yeah, I'm not going to do that because of the library we want to use for the form so that I can see it at once, not that we start moving around. So here we have this one too, which is this group. But inside this group, we have this side and we have this one on its own. And as you can see, then two follow the same structure that we have there. So let me, and lastly, we have our button, which is going to submit the form. So let me move this one down. As you can see, this is the layout. So we have the form, then we have the group for that first one. So here, let's design the first group. So I'm going to give it this one. So I'm going to call it, um, so the class name is going to be styles, then dot form group like this. But where is the styles coming from? So we need to import it. So import then from this one style.module like that. So inside this group, don't forget we have label, we have the inputs, and we have the error message. So we need a label. So what is going to be the label? What is the ID? What's the text for the first one? Because we need to make sure that the label is connected to the input. Okay, that's name. So label for card, let me call it card holder name like this. That's the same text that is there. So card holder name. Coming. All right. So we have the card holder name. Yes, card holder are actually together. How come? Card holder are together, not holder. Card holder. So after the label, we have the input. So the input is having a type text, the ID. Why do we need ID? Because we want to connect it to the label. So if the ID did not match, it will not connect to the label. What do I mean by that? When you click on label, it will not know that you're actually trying to activate that input. But since the ID and the four of the label are the same, once you click on the label, it will activate the box there. So this one too should have a name because the name is so the name still is going to be card. We need this name, so card holder name because the library want to use this name, and that's what is going to use there. So, and after this, we are going to have the P, now the message. So anytime there is a message, this is where it is going to come outside there. So this is what we have. So the same thing we have here is what we're going to second one too. So the second box. So what we have here is what we're going to have for this second verb, which we have a card number, and from there we have the message for that one too. So I'm just going to have message like this, but we're going to replace it with the correct message later on. So this is going to be the card number. So card. So we have the card number. This one too is going to be card number like this. So save, and let's go to the page and see what we actually have there. So let's see what we have. So on the page, as you can see, we have this content, but we're going to make sure that everything is okay. So the next one we have now is this box. So this one is actually different. So here we have the div, which is going to have the same thing like this, well, with a little touch. So we need to touch it because we have different ones. So form group, uh, so what should I call it? So form group two like this. So two is going to have, but now I can't think of the name to use, so I don't want to. So what do we have there? At the top, we have these two. So here we're going to have, so here to have two. So we are going to have two box. The first box is this one. The second box is what we have here. So I will just duplicate this div, but because it actually have the same kind of stuff there. So this one is going to be form group, and inside it, if you look at it, there are two. There is this expiry date, which is month and year, but there are two input inside it. So for this one, we have the CVV like that. So this is the first one. Let me paste this one inside. So we're going to have two here, but let me duplicate this one down. So this is where we're going to have the CVV like this. So this one is going to be CVV like that. So save. And for this one, it's going to be two. So for this one, it's going to be two. So it's going to be two. It's going to be two. What did I do? So here, let me collapse this because this is the CCV. Then inside this place, we need to have another group again, which is going to group these two items together. So here, I'm going to call it expiry date. So that's what is going to be our class, but this one is going to be styles dot expiry dates. Expiry dates group like this. So and inside it we are going to have these two items. So save. But what is this one? So the items here is this expiry dates, and inside it we have two inputs. So we have two inputs. Inside it we have two inputs. This message here, it's going to be down. It's going to be so. In order for us not to be doing too much of work, so let me just give it a class so that I don't need to be targeting the P that is inside this stuff. So let me quickly change the class. So here we're going to have the class name, which is going to be style dot message box like this. So it's going to be message box. So save it. So saved. So what do we have here? We have this card holder name, which is the first item. Close, that one is done. So the second one we have is this card number. That one too has been done. But this one is having a lot of items under it because the group is two. So if you look at it, there is this group for expiry dates, and there's another group for C is even CVC. So it is CVC like this. So we have CVC like this. So there is a box for CVC. So we've inside that place now, inside the this expiry or inside this form two group, we have the expiry date group. So why did I call it group? Because there are two items here. So we have this text and we now have these two box. Or if you don't want to do it like this, what we can actually do, because we actually need to use the phone group. But inside that phone group, we are going to have this thing. So we need to change. So where is this one? So this is this. This one is not going to be card number. What we're supposed to have there is going to be this. So let me move it up. So here we need to have two inputs, expiry dates. So this one is going to be form group. So form group like this. After it, we have this. And at the top, this label is not linked to, yeah, it should link to the first one. So what is the name of the first one that we have here? And the first one is the month, so mm. So we need to have a name for that. So this is going to be mm. So I'm calling name M for month, or let me use correct name. So this is month. ID is going to be month, and the name of this one too is going to be month. So the second one, so the second one is going to be year, which is going to be year, and this one is going to be year. So this is what I'm doing here. We have this box for months, and we have this box for year. So, but both of them are inside one container are there. So this one should be. So what should we call this one? So where is it? We are okay. Expiry dates. So that's the text there. So we have this expiry, then date. So we have mm/yy, which is telling the user how you are to impute the stuff. But if you go back to the page now, our design is not going to look like what we're expecting it to be. But with CSS, we're going to make sure that everything is okay. And again, we need to work on this items later on. But for now, I'm going to switch it to mobile design because we said we're always going to start with the mobile. As you can see, this is what we have, but we need to make sure that it looks like this. It looks like this. Where are you? Yeah, we need to make sure that it looks like this on mobile there. So we need to make sure that it looks like this. So let me move this design to one side, and from there we move our VS Code to the other side so that we can see the results at once. So let me move this one to this side. Then what we are trying to do to come to this side, and the actual design we are the middle so that we can see all of them at once. We don't need to start moving from one window to another window. So if you look at it here now, the one that is going to have a lot of work here is this down one. So the one that is going to have a lot of work is this down one here, like that. So let me open each one of them down, and from there we apply our style. And once we are done with the styling, then we now include our React this in there. So hook form. So we're going to hook it with the library. But first, let's deal with the styling. So going to back to the home page. So where's the home page CSS? So we have the style.module. We don't need every other thing here for now. So let me just close all these items. We're going to come back to them later on to fix that card, but let me close everything that I'm not using right now. So close, close, close the back, close the front. The only thing I need right now is the home page. Yeah, so that I don't have too much of stuff open out. So we have this. We have the div, which I can just give it a class name, which is going to be style dot container like this. So which is going to be styles dot container, and there is the one that is going to contain everything. So we're going to have container. Apart from container here, we are going to have this form. So inside the container, we actually have form. So container, we have the form. So inside the form, what do we have? Inside the form, we have the form group. So we have the form group like this. At the same time, we have another type of form group, which is what we are using to group this expiry and this CBC together. This first one is to perform this kind of a grouping. This form group two is to perform this kind of a grouping that we have here. And you know, inside the form group, we have label. So we have label, so we need to style it. Again, inside the form group, we have impute. So we need to style the impute too, like that. So these are the element we need to start. And lastly, we need to talk to the message box, which is the message that you're seeing outside here. So we need to make sure, for example, the font size is going to be around that 12 pixels. So which is going to be 75 like this, 0.75. Then the color is going to be that our red color. I think we've copied, yeah, so the red color. So it should be red. So red like this, so saved, and you see that all of them are going to be this particular color. But first, let's talk about the container, which I'm going to give background color of red so that I can see. So this is the container there. So we need to change this container on desktop. On mobile right now, it's actually okay. And again, too, there's a lot of space up here that is wasting that we don't need to waste like that. So let me see what is going on there. What did we do? Okay, inside the main, we have container. So inside the main, it display flex and it's moving all the content to center. But we don't want it to do like that. So we don't want it to behave like that. But for now, let me leave it. Once we are increasing the stuff, it will keep moving it up by itself there. But later on, we might need to remove that thing that we put there so that by default it will be at the top. But first, let's go into this form. So inside the form, we are going to display it as a flex, which is going to move what is inside the side by side, but that's not what we want. We need to give it a flex direction of column. So once we give it the flex direction of column, then it's going to move them on top of each other. So we need to have gap in between each group. So we're going to have this gap of 1 rem between the age group there. So let me reduce this one like this. So inside this form, we don't have any background there, so we don't need to use padding. I'm going to remove this background later on, but for now, let me even remove that stuff. Let me leave it like that. So inside the form group, we need to display this one too as flex. What is form group? Form group is the one that is grouping the label, impute, and the message together. So we need to place them on top of each other, just like what we have there. So we need to change the direction to this. The gap in between them is going to be around that zero point 0.4. Let me use 0.5 or 0.6 or 0.75, which is going to be 6 pixels, like this. So saved. As you can see, it's going to there. But if you look at it, you see that the content is not, it's not full again because of what is happening here. So this one now, its parent has already moved it to. So what we can do here is to use width of 100%. So which means this one should just full up its parent like that. So that's the reason why we need container. As me, we're not using container, we are using form, and we can do it on the form. But form will just work automatically because it is flex already. So it will take up its parent. That's why it's full everything like this. So the next thing we need to do is to style our label. If you look at all the label, their text is uppercase. It's not like the way we type it from the HTML there. So this one text transform should just be uppercase like this. So all the text will be in capital letter like that. So the other thing we need to do here is the font weight. So the font weight should be around that 600. I don't know, maybe we have the 600. Yeah, I think we have the 600. So it should be this 600. The color that is there is not what we are using currently. So let me show our yard. What is there is this one. The color that is here is this one? Let me check. So let me check. So the color that is here is this. So the color of like this. So saved. Yeah. So it's using the color that we want. Is it using it? To me, so like that. So what do we need to do? Let's enter the input for now. I'll come back into this. So the border should be the border like this. Yes, so the border should be that. Border radius should be around these 4 pixels. So we need the padding. On left and right, I think we have the same kind of a padding. So which is small. So let me use this is 8 pixels. Let me use 10. So 625 is 10 pixels like this. So we need to have label there. Why did we not have label? One is miss. Oh, sorry. Our placeholder is missing. So for this one, the place order is going to be for the first one is going to be EG Jane. So Jane, please. Jane. So that is the place order. So for the card number, so place order is going to be EG 123 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 1 1 2 3 4 like this. So saved, and we are going to have the label, but we need to style the label. If you look at we need to start the placeholder. See that is thick and it have more fonts this thing there like that. So for this one, we need to have So this one, the place order is going to be For this one, the place order is going to be YY. And for the last one, so place order is going to be EG 123. Then saved. And we should have all our this in place together. So let's continue with the styling. So we want to start stuff. So the form, group, the input. So how do you type place order? This is how to target place order. So this one will target the place order and you can do whatever you want to do with it. For example, we want to change the color to this, which is going to use that color. Then the font size is going to be well, you should use the font size from the form from the input. So the font size for this one should just be around that. This is 14 pixels, like that. So let me type something. And again, we don't want this in. We don't want that line. The line is not going to be this. But let me check the active state. So when it is active, so what do we want to do? When the input is active, so what do we want to do? What's wrong with this thing? So I'm coming. Let me check the active state. Okay, go back. So when it is active, well, when you're inside the box, what happened? So as you can see, the color that is here is like this purple color anytime it is active when you are typing inside. And again, to the color is not that black that I currently have there. So we need to make sure that it's behaving like this when we are. So let me move into the mobile that we're working on. Yeah. So this is what we are working on, and let's bring in this one back. So we need to change the color anytime this thing is active. So the form group, anytime the input is focus, we want to change the body to something else. So anytime it is focus, we want to change the border to something else. That one, if it did not have error, so if the container did not have error there, these people should not. All right, so what do we have? When it is focused, I want to change the color. I'm not going to use that gradient. I will remove this because now it's kind of crazy to apply gradient on the line and it's going to have border radius. So the way to do it's kind of crazy, but for now, I'm just going to use this primary color like this, which is going to be this. So we're going to use the plain so that we don't waste time on the styling parts. I will come back into it to explain how to do a gradient line because you have to use background to do that and you have to mix things together because you can't just apply gradient to the border. If you apply it, you will not be able to do border radius. Both of them doesn't work together. So you have to use another thing. So yeah, the border color should just be that our primary color like this. So by default, the form, your input is going to have this color. But anytime it is active, then it should kind of use our lesson. But again, it did not show why. Is because right now there is this thing that is covering like that cover the stuff which is outline. So if you want to do that, you can actually change the outline color. So this one is going to be outline color here because by default what you normally see there is outline. Is so it's outline that is there. So there is no border. As you can see now, anytime we are inside it, the outline is going to change from that normal black that I used to show to this one. But we want to change the outline color too if it is having error. So when it's having error, the color should be red. So when it is having error, so anytime there is a form group like this, and there is a form group and the input is having error like this, or anytime we have error, so we have input, then error, then when it is focused, what do we want to do? So the outline color should be that our red. So it's going to be the red when it have when it's focused and it have error, or even when it's not focused. Anytime it should have anytime it have this, so like that, or anytime there is a form group, input, error, focus like this, we want the outline to always be this. And the border color too should be red. So let me separate them because now one is using outline, one is using border. So let me separate them. So let me remove this one and move it to its own line. So remove this, save. So anytime the input is having error, the border should be this. But if it's not, anytime it is focused to and it have error, it should be red. But if it is not, just use this normal focus that we have here. Like that. So if you are inside the box and there is error, the line is going to be red. But if it's not, this is what we are going to have. So let's complete this stuff. So where's the design? So this is what we are working on. We are done with this first one. This second one has been done because we are using the same class. So the third one now is what we need to handle, and that one is this group two. So group two is the one that is grouping the expiry date and the CVC. So this one should be displayed as flex, AIC, which is a line item, so they should be centered. So it should move them side by side like this. And by default too, all these form group, no. This one is not going to what okay, this is what we're going to do. So form group two, anytime there is form group inside it, flex direction should be so flex direction should be row like this because as you can see no, let me see what is doing there. Let me see I think we give it a class because it will affect what I have here. So I have this form group. Okay, we have form group two, then we have form group. Okay, I know what is going on. So anytime we have form group inside another form group, this is what it's going to do. Yeah. So anytime we have form group inside another form group, just change the direction to row like this. And what do we want to do? If you look at it now, they are now taking more space than what is supposed to be. So what's supposed to happen here is that the form group that is directly under this group too. Look at it here. This is it here. So I have this group and I have this group, but they are inside this form group too. If you look at it, all this one they've taken all the space. But what's supposed to happen that these two should take half, and this one too should take the remaining half. So we need to talk to these two form group directly, all the direct form group that is inside this one. We need to talk to them to take half half, or you can just say any form that is inside this thing should just be flex one. So inside this form, so we need to do this one. So form group two, inside it we have the form group. So the flex should just be one. So which means if you have two contents side by side, just take half half of what is going on in the parent there and like that. And I'm not seeing it yet, so let me inspect because here now I've already and yeah, I know what is going on. Is this speed impute? Because impute by default they are crazy. They are greedy. Let me say greedy, not crazy. They are greedy. They always want to take a bigger size. There. So that's what is happening. If you look at it now, we have this group. So inside this form, this is it here. See, the thing is two. Like this is a group. This group here now supposed to hold this one and this one together. But now I see that the other one has gone out of the screen. Why? Because these two inputs are kind of greedy. And what is happening is that by default, all these silly all the silly inputs, they actually have like a minimum width that they used to have. So you like if you don't give them a particular width, they will just keep going anyhow they want like that. So one way of doing this one is by just first of all, we can come to this one and just say this will be flex one in its parent like that. So we can use this, and at the same time we can give it a mean width of zero. So which means your minimum width should just be zero, but later on you can just expand because that's what is happening here now. If you look at the input right now, so where is it? So as you can see, this is the style, but now this is not what's supposed to happen. This one here now and where is it? So where is it from group two? Let me close them. This is from group two. This is where it stopped. So this form group here supposed to take half, while this one too will take half. But what I'm seeing here now, they are not taking half half. Because that's what the flex one is talking about. You take half of your parent and you to take half of your parent. Or because of the input that is inside them, they are greedy. So what we can do, one way of solving this problem is by giving it a mean width, or you can give it a definite width if you know the width of zero like this, and it should kind of solve the problem. But right now, I'm not seeing it. It's not solving the problem, and that's what's supposed to solve our problem there. So let me check what is going on with the input again because I've given it all the necessary stuff that it needs to have here like that. So we have the inputs, then you have these items. So let me go into that group two. So the group two, where are you? So we have it as a flex. So this is it. And inside it, we have the form group. So this form group is having flex of one. And let me close this. So for the 21, it have a flex one there. And again here, uh, so let's see what I will do. So where is it? Because the input is taking up that space. They are not supposed to take the space that I don't want them to take there. So and the max width should just be 100%. Yes, so load coming. All right, so um we need to make sure that it's not affecting other inputs. We really want it to affect the one that is here. Let me reload. because I made the changes on the browser so that it can go back to the way it is. So where are we? We have this form group two. So inside this form group two, the form group two, inside it we have the form group. So any input that is there, so any input that is here, we want the width. So we want the width to be 50% here, like that. So saved, and as you can see, it's going to give us what we want, but we want the one that is inside the CCV to cover up its parent. Hey, we want the one that is inside the CCV to cover up its parent there. So the front group two, the gap is going to be 0.25 rem. So give it a gap. This is going to give a gap in between these items here. So saved. I think zero point 0.5 should be okay, like this. So minimum width. So let me just give it like this. So it's still taking up more than what it's supposed to take. So there we need to target this our we need to target this second one here that is inside form two. So this one we have the form group two, then from there form group and last of type, then the input that is inside it, which should just be 100% like this. So we're going to have this stuff. So here, these two, take alpha parent, take alpha of your parent, but you take everything that is in the parent. And you can see now we have the design. So the next thing we need to have that I forgot to add to this list. So let me close all this one for now. So close them. The other thing that I forgot to add here is a button which is going to submit the form. And what do we have there? So the text we have there is confirm. So confirm. So on the home page, we have any button somewhere else again? Yeah, we have button. I think we have button in another place. So if you look at it, this confirm is the same thing on the other side. Let me see. Yeah, as you can see, it's still the same thing here. So which means the button is generic. So I can't put the style in here. So I'm going to put it inside this place. So we are going to have the button. So the button, the background color is going to be whatever this. Where is the background color? Okay, very dark. So very dark violet like this. So the color is going to be this our light grayish stuff here. So the color is going to be this. So the border is going to be none. Padding is going to be 1 rem like this. Border radius is going to be 0.25 rem if it's not too much. 0.25 rem. Yeah, it should be 0.5 rem. Uh, 0.375 rem. Yeah. So like this. And the cursor should be pointer. The cursor should be like this. Then the text inside it, font weight should be let's say 600. Font size should be 1.5 area if it's not too big. So this is 1.125 area in 10 pixels like this. There's a space. So the letter spacing should just be around this point of 2 pixels like this, which is too much. 1 pixels should be, yeah. So we have this our button, we have this our button, but I think this thing is too much. 1 rem should be okay, like this. So now we have the button, but we don't want all these messages to come outside.
we want to get what the user is typing so that we can know whether to show error message or not. So how do we do that? We need to incorporate our the hook form now. So how do we do it? So the first thing you need to do is to call this use form. So this use form is the hooks, and this hooks is going to return some stuff to you back, and that stuff is returning back is what you are going to use to hook into your form, and it will be giving you whatever it needs to give you. So the first thing it's giving us is register. This is what you are going to use to register your inputs are there. What are the inputs? So these are the inputs. So if I want to register this input now, this is the function I will call are there. So we need to register all our inputs so that I can know about them, all the input that we have in the system. And how do we register them? That's the name. This name is very important. So whatever name you are using is what you should use to register the inputs. Another thing you can get here is this form state. So the form state is the one that is going to give you information about your form, whether it is dirty or whether it has error or it's not having error or someone has touched it or it's not touched. So on it, on this form state, I'm going to console log out the stuff so that you see what is giving us back there. So on the form state, you can take the error and do whatever stuff you want there. So for example here, I'm going to console log out the form state like this and form state. You see that it's giving us the error and a lot of other things based on the form that you register. Whatever you register, that's the only thing it will work on. You don't register your input, it doesn't know what is going on there. So if I go to the console here, what do we have there? As you can see, if you open it, we're going to have the error states. The major one we need here is this error state. We want to know whether it is dirty or the thing is loading if you are connected to API or it is valid. So this one is what you can use to check whether your form is valid or not. But where is the error? These are the errors. And the errors is going to be object based on whatever you pass into it. But we've not passed anything. That's why it is empty. So what we need from this state, uh, we need the error, we need is valid. So those are the stuff that we need from it are there. So which is something I can just quickly. So const is valid should just be form state, then dot is valid like this. So const is submitting if you need that one too, whether you want to know whether the form is submitting. So it's going to be form state and dot is submitting like this. So it's still submitting the form. What's going on here? So what else do we need? So const errors should just be form state then dot errors like this. So this one will give us all the errors that we have in our system. So which I can actually console log at each one of them. So we have is valid, is submitting, and we have the errors. So the next thing we need to do is to register our form. So let me register the first one so that you can actually see it because right now you see that nothing is showing. Once I reload the page, so you see that the error is not having anything because it doesn't know what is going on. So if you check, is valid is wait oh, is valid is true, is submitting is false, then the error is empty object. So in order for us to see, we need to register. So how do you register? You are going to spread or you call that function register and you pass the name of the feed that you want to connect to. So what is the name? The name is whatever you put here. So this name should match whatever you are passing. So the name should match like this. So we just register this first one. So save it and going back there, you see that it's going to know about this feed now. You already know about the feed there like that. And if there's any error, it's going to bring it out. And you can even console log out the feed here. So this will actually give us the feed if you need the feed. So where is it? Cost all feeds should just be, I think is this form statement, but where are you? No, it's not state. It should be form feed. So it's give us the other stuff. So where is it? Where are you? 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 So clear error, we need to use this one. I think I need it later on. So which other thing that I need to get values. So in case you want to get all the values, this is the one that will return all the values for us. So all values. So let me just say all values like this should just be get values, or we can call it the functions. So I don't want to call it here. So don't let me call it like this. I'm going to use it later or inside the form. So what do we need to do? We need to register all our controls. So where's the other one? Yeah, this one. So this is going to be register, and inside it we need to pass the name that you want to register. So register this one. So let me just copy it for the other one too. So copy like this. So go to the next one, which is this two inputs. So we need to register this. So register, the name of this one is month. So for this one, register whatever name you are using here to register, that's what is going to use to give it the value back. You are going to see it now. So this one is going to be year, because that's the name I want to use. And lastly, for this one, I want to register it is going to be CVC. So how do we get the value that the user type back from this your form? So how do we get the value? We need to call something here. Let me remove all this one that I'm not using right now. I will bring them in later on. So the next thing we need to to call is this undo submit. So this one is going to hijack this form and it will check whether you whatever you type is valid or not if you put the validator later on. So it will check whether it's valid or not. If it's valid, it will give you the value. If it's not valid, then it will tell the user that whatever they are doing is not valid. But we still have to be the one that will put the message there. So not that the message will just come outside. So we are the one that will do it. So what do we want to do? This is the function we want to call. So const um um so let's just call this one undo what is that? Undo the form like this. So this one is going to give us the data. But where are we going to get how are we going to get the data? You see it now. Everything will clear. Let me quickly type all of them so that you can see what is going on. So this is going to be data, is going to be this data. But how do we going to call this function? So we need to pass it to this undo submit on the form. So on the form, on submit, like this, we need to pass the undo submit. And which function do you want to do? So we want to undo the form. So save. So we've handled our form right now. We've handled our basic form. What do we do? What I did here, call this use form. On it, call this register form state in case you need all these states later on. Then undo submit. This is what you pass to the form. So it's the one that will undo whatever. Anytime you click on submit on the form, it will hijack what the form will do normally. You know, anytime you submit form, you know it will reload the page. But this one is going to hijack that and it will check the form whether it is valid or not. If it is valid, it will call this your function. And that your function will receive whatever form that you registered. Any of the form input that you register, it will send all of them to you added. So save and going back to the page and then on line 9, what is going on line 9? So go back there now and press enter. There can you see data now? It's giving us what? Card holder name, card number, month, year, and CCV. And as you can see, all of them are empty. But now, if you type something, for example, we just put testing my name like this. So for the card holder, I just put some random text. So for this one, 203, we've not had any validation. So but for now, we are just saying, so this one is going to be 123. So now confirm, you see that it's going to give us now all the value that you type. So it's giving us the value I type inside this card holder name, the value I type inside the card number, the one I type for CVV, and so forth like that. So in order for you to use the React hook form, the first thing you need to do, you need to install it. Once you are done installing, you call this use form. On the use form, it gives us the register, which is what you are going to use to hook this form into your whatever form that you are, whatever input that you are working with. So this register, you need to go there, just spread it, but pass the name of the input that you are working with. So this input, the name is this, so that's why I pass it. And that's the same name it will use to give me the value that is being typed there. So for this one too, as you can see, I give it its own name. Whatever name you give it here, that's what it will use to send the value back to you. Because that's what you are going to use to get the actual value you type from the box there. And based on this now, we can now add validator into our form. As you can see right now, it's saying our form is valid because we don't have any validator on the form. But you can actually supply the this in there. You can give it some validation that you want to use. After this side, you can actually give it some validation if you want to see it there like that. But here, I will not be doing it like that. I will do it directly from here. Because you can actually give this in a default value if you want. For example, here now, if you reload, for the first time, you are not going to have anything filled. But you can actually give it a default value if you want from here. So inside this hook form, you can actually supply some default or some configuration setting. One of the setting there is known as default value. Default value is what are the values that you want to supply to this thing by default. Before the user start typing, what do you want to show there? So that's what the default value is there for. And it have to match the name you are using. For example, now if I use CVC, because that's the name we used to register this one. So I want this CVC by default to have 678 like this. And once this thing is registered, is going to have the value there. Let me use value because this thing sometimes the way it used to come out. Because normally that's what we know. Can you see now? You can see it's going to use that value by default if you don't supply anything, but you can actually change it to another thing. This one is really useful when you are getting data from backend. At that time the user already have that data. You only want to just like what we did yesterday on the side. Some of the info are filled already. But how does it preview the stuff? So it get the data from the backend and it feed them there automatically. So it's not left for you to change or to leave it the way it is. And this is how you can do it here using React. So using this React, this use form here. Because when you are dealing with user data is later on and they need to change it, you need to fill what is there before they will now update it. Assuming there is a detail before, you can do it like this. So it will give you the value that the user feel maybe like yesterday or before. Then they can change it to anything they want. But for our own, the application we are currently working on right now, we don't need this one. What we actually need right now is resolver. And what is this resolver here? This is what you can use to hook your validation into the system. So let me go into the doc. I'm not doing anything outside of the doc. When you want to deal with validation, this is what you need to do like that. Can you see? So you need the resolver. So this resolver, you give it whatever stuff you are using and you pass the schema. What is the schema? The schema is the whatever validation you want to add into the system. But don't forget, we are using this Zod. So since we are using Zod, we need to use the Zod resolver, which I have not yet installed. The only thing we just installed is the Zod itself. We've not really installed the resolver for the stuff. So we can actually add that one too by just installing the stuff for where is it set. So let me go down so that you see I'm not doing this thing. It's just coming from the doc there. So as a developer, you must be able to read documentation because it's not everything I'm going to explain. Some stuff have to come from the doc there. So for the validation, we need to install the resolver. So this is it here. So we need to add our resolver and we're going to call the one that we've already installed our Zod. So but this week they are using Yop here, but I'm not using Yop because it's the Zod that we want to use. That one is more simpler than this one. That one will have a lot of things on it. So we need to install this one. So npmi, this resolver is the one that is going to connect our schema to this thing here, to our React hook form. So what do we need to do? Let's define our schema. So how do you define schema? You can place it anywhere you want, but I'm going to place it here at the top. But look at it too. I'm doing it outside of the component. So because schema, you can call it anything you want. So schema, I'm calling it schema here. You can call it validation. You can call it anything you want. But here I'm calling it schema. So here I'm going to add the Z. The Z, where is it coming from? Is that Zod that we install. So the Z here is the store that we, as you can see, it's coming from Zod. So it's coming from Zod. Then on it, we need to pass the object because our form it's containing how many things. So if you look at it, our form is containing the card, it's containing this card holder name. But whatever name you are using here should match whatever you'll be passing here. because that's what it's going to use. As you can see, the AI is bringing out already, but whatever name you are using to register your input, so that's the same name you are going to use to create the schema for it. And what are the schema? That's what I showed that time when we started with this our application. So if you go to this place, you can put different schema that you want on your element there. For example, you want to check whether this thing is number. As you can see, z dot number. It means whatever the user have to type there must be a number. You cannot type a b just like this one now. If you look at this our input, the user are not allowed to type letter here. Yeah. So if you look at it, here now they are not allowed to type letter. So we can use this one now to quickly talk to it that we want our card number to be z dot number, and at the same time we want it to be of a particular length and so forth like that. And you give the error message that you want to do, and that's what this schema is all about. So this is where you define all those error there. So and where is z? Z is coming from some. That's why we install result. But how do we use this schema? To use the schema, we need to come into this place, put the resolver, and which resolver are we using? We are using the search resolver like this, and from there you pass whatever schema that you want. So this is the one. It will take everything you have there, pass it here, and extract out whatever error message you put here when there is error. If there is no error, you will not see it. If there is error, you will see it. And that's the reason why this one is here to do all the necessary magic that it needs to do there like that. So what is time? All right, so let me quickly add this resolver. So what we need are their name. You can see that their name, that one is string. So it have a string and it can be less than maybe 10 and so forth like that. Or you can even add more validation into this thing later on, which is something we're going to do, like the custom one, because we wanted to supply their first name and the last name only. We don't want three name, only two name. But for now, I will just say it's a string. So the card order is going to be string. So let me just put what the AI is bringing out, but this is wrong. It's not going to be string. The CCB is going to be number. So whatever they are typing must be number. The same thing too. Year, year is a number too. So the year should be number, and minimum is no, it can't be minimum. It should be length. So because I want it to be two. So where are you now? Let me use this here for the number. If you have this, uh, this number I'm not having it. Let me use min. So minimum should be how many? The year, okay, two. Minimum should be two, and the max should be two, like this. I'll put the error message later on, but now let's just put the schema and say, okay, this one should be minimum, or let's just say invalid year, like that. So, or what is the message? Okay, it's pan blank. So invalid year is what I will use. So anytime you get to the month, if you don't supply it, will be number. So if you don't supply it and it is required, so required mean you must supply it. So we need to put required. Come outside now. So required like that. The message for this one, so this one too should have a min and max. So max. So this is two. Invalid, invalid months. So this one too, invalid months. So this one should be two because we want it to be two. So for this one, how many is it? Three. So minimum is three. Invalid, invalid, invalid CVC, and max should be this. So for the card number, it can't be string. It should be number too. So minimum minimum is what? I think it's 16. So what's the message? Wrong format. Wrong format. So wrong format. This one, if you don't give it a number, that's what is going to come outside. So this one is going to be wrong format, number only. So this one is just going to be wrong format because the length did not match. And at the same time too, we are going to have max. So this one too is 16 and wrong formats. So minimum is 16. So look at it. If you want to do this thing yourself using JavaScript, you start using if else there. Okay, you check the length. Again, so you have to check whether what they type is number, which takes a lot of time or a lot of code. What we just did here now in this line, it will take you a lot of code to achieve this same thing here. Because you have to be checking them one by one yourself. For can you see that things match together here? What we did here is that first of all, it must be number. You have to check that one. Again, you have to check whether they have this minimum of 16 or it have this minimum of this 16 here, like that. And again, too, this one for the number, you have to do the same thing and you do it like that. So we have our schema and we already resolve it. So saved and go back to our page. So where's the form? So where's the form? Where's the form? Where's the form? Where's the form? So where's the form? This is where I will stop because we'll continue from there. Because we know, don't forget we need our store. What's require is not a function. I don't need to pass this require though. Then remove where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? It is required already. So it is required already. So saved and run it again. All right, so it's loading. Yeah, we have our form. If you look at it now, its valid is now false because your form is not matching that value. And again, if there is any error later on, it's going to tell you when there is error. So if you confirm, then you go and check now. Can you see that the error is not having value? Before, the error was empty. But now after submitting the form, the thing did not submit oh, it will not submit the form. The user must clear or can you see them now? So there is now for the card holder, it is required because we did not type anything. That's the message. So for the card number, you see expected number but receive string. So I need to change that error message. So where's that one? I need to change this one. I need to change this one. So the what's that one say? What is it? Invalid type error, like that. So this is the error message and rest of it. Okay. So required error too, you can pass it. But for now, I'm not passing that one. So let me click on it again. So you can see, and you can see again after clicking on this, can you see that it activates that box? No, I'm not the one that. So it's because this React hook form, all those magic is doing it for us behind the scene. We don't need to start creating it ourselves. Our own is just to hook it into our form. And the reason it knows that this is what we've not filled is because the naming that we have here, is matching the input. So the name here is matching the name that we used to register it. So it knows how to get to each one of the form automatically and then tell you that you've not filled that one. So if you fill this one now, you submit again, it will see that you've not filled it. Can you see now? It moves to the second one. It knows that we've completed that first one. So there is no error with that one. But the next one, we've not completed it. It moves to that one. So if I complete this one too and press this thing again, to still tell you that there's some other one that you've not completed it. So this is React hook form behind the scene doing all this magic. And if you check now, you still see that it's valid, it's false. And under the error, you see that it's giving you, can you see that the card holder name is not there again? Because that one did not have any error. So that one has passed. But this other one did not pass. So what we need to do next now is to show the color around the box. And again, too, the message should come outside, not like this. The only time we want to see the message is when there's an error in the form. If there's no error, you don't want to see this message. So those are the stuff we are going to do in the next class here, there because this is 1 hour and 10 minutes already. Yeah, that's going to be all. So let me quickly upload it.